Hey everybody, Alex here, and welcome to A Base to the Past. Title pretty much is going to give it away. It's about one of my favorite systems of all time, and my launch day memories of this system, the Dreamcast. This is my original Dreamcast, one of the few things I held on to, and it still works. Power button that gets stuck and all, and a big splotch of paint right there. And the best part is, when I found the Dreamcast in the closet before moving here, there was a game inside. And that was one of the, I would say, necessity games of the Sega Dreamcast, and that was Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, the Dreamcast was a really cool piece of hardware back when it was released in 1999. It is, in my opinion, an arcade machine that you can bring home, at least back then. Now, obviously we're leaps and bounds ahead of that. But for the time, this was absolutely outstanding. It was definitely ahead of its time, in my opinion, and I think that's why caused some hindrance on its development. Had 4 controller ports here, so arcade games like Gauntlet Legends, which was fantastic with people in the arcade, and it's also fantastic when you have 4 people standing next to you that you can punch in the mouth when they screw up, but anyway. Was already there, and we also had a 56K modem for online play, and the Dreamcast really helped to get online play kicking, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, some games still work with it, which I think is pretty cool. Now, among all my friends, it was really just me and one other kid who were interested in the Dreamcast. Everybody else kind of was like, who cares? We were all about the arcades. We were about going there and pumping in quarters into fighting games at the time. And the Dreamcast, initially I'm like, there's going to be a cool game on it called Soul Calibur. And I dare say that game is better than the arcade game, in my personal opinion. I think it is so much better on the Dreamcast. And, I was like, dude, this is like an arcade machine in your house. We don't need to go all the way down Chinatown. We don't need to go to the laundromat. We don't need to break 5s and 10s and 20s anymore. We can just go to my house, and we'll play there, and we'll get pizza, and it'll be beautiful. Nobody bought it except the one kid. And he pre-ordered one himself elsewhere, and I pre-ordered one myself, based on all the stuff we read about it in EGM and GameFan. Now, about the pre-orders. I pre-ordered at Toys R Us, and the way they did it back then was you put down money, but it was first come, first serve. So if they had 3 systems and there was 4 people in line, and I was the 4th person, they would say you're waitlist until the next shipment, but whatever money you put down guarantees that nobody can walk in and take it. Really dumb system, in my opinion. So, launch day for the Dreamcast, which was supposed to be the first system I bought with my own money. Or at least some of my own money, because I basically threw money at it up until the day I heard about it, was the semifinals for my soccer team. And same friend, he was on the team with me, and he spent the night at the house before. And we were plotting how we could both be sick and miss the game so we could go to Toys R Us, stand online, and hopefully get a Dreamcast. Well, unfortunately for us, my dad was the coach of this team, and he wasn't having any shit. Any sign of conspiracy, which he did pick up on, made us take a lap around the apartment building, and I think that night we did about 4 or 5 laps. So, we had to go to the game. So the next morning, you can imagine what these 2 young Alex and young friend standing across the street from Toys R Us trying to get a cab with a bag of soccer balls and cleats, looking at this long line of people, thinking, there's our Dreamcast, or my Dreamcast, but it's his. We share it. So it was kind of disheartening. And then to top it off, we actually lost the game. It was like 2-1 or 3-2. And it wasn't that we played poorly. Actually, we played quite well up until a roundhouse kicked that kid in the rib and he had to get taken home. But it was just disheartening. Initially we wanted to skip the game, but actually going to the game and then losing on picking up a Dreamcast at the same time, the disappointment was incredible. It was, you would swear it was like somebody took a bag of fun and deflated it. It was that bad. And as I kicked the camera, and top it off, that was the last game my dad would coach. So he was all like about it. And the parents had taken the time to put some money together and get him a letter jacket since he was retiring from Little League coaching. I don't know how you can retire from something you volunteer from, but he figured it out. So after that, he decided he was going to take everybody out on the team out for pizza. My friend and I, we decided to pass because honestly, we weren't in the mindset for celebrating, camaraderie or losing or not getting Dreamcasts. So we walked back to the train, slightly dejected, actually mostly dejected, and we went back to my house. Now, the odd thing is when we went back to my house, I noticed that the door, which I had double locked, was now only single locked. So I thought, my mom must be home. But then it dawned on me, my mom was at work. She actually left for work when we went to the game, and I didn't see her keys on the in the foyer area when we walked into the room. Actually, I heard a man's voice in the apartment that I was like, oh shit. Somebody broke into the house, and I am here with my friend, and he could have a gun, we don't know. And we round around the corner just to see where he is, and sure enough, the door to my room is open, and I hear a voice coming from that room, and the two of us are scared, but we're teenagers, so what do? We walk right for the freaking danger like idiots. We walk into my room and we see a guy on the floor. I immediately presumed he was trying to steal my systems or the TV or something. Then I realized it was my uncle, and I was like, Uncle Donald. And from there, he started cursing. I think some things were thrown, and the two of us ran out of the room, and basically we heard him say, "Start in the living room," and we were like, okay. So after about 20 minutes of shitting ourselves, he came out, and he said, "I have a surprise for you." So we walked in, and there it was, Dreamcast, and it was playing Sonic Adventure. Pretty much, I put together the pieces later on, but for that particular moment, it was just complete surprise, complete shock. My friend, he jumped for the Dreamcast and immediately started playing it while I was busy trying to figure out how the hell this actually happened. And what S-Video was, because apparently he bought S-Video cables. I had no idea what they did, but he said they made games look a lot better. So, I did eventually figure out what happened. The whole purpose of having my friend spend the night, and why I was allowed to have him spend the night, was to distract me. Because typically my parents wouldn't let me have people sleep over at the house the night before a game or a test or whatever. In this case, they did, because my pre-order slip I left on the bulletin board in the kitchen. So by having a friend over, I would be fully distracted and not paying attention to the bulletin board on the kitchen. My uncle had come that night to visit. Before leaving, he took that receipt off the bulletin board and went home. He then called in sick the next day for work, went online, stood there, he told me, with a hood so I wouldn't recognize him because our apartment building was directly across the street from a Toys R Us. In all honesty, my dad didn't even give a shit that we wanted to skip the game. This was all planned. Unfortunately, my dad forgot the part about making us go to the pizza party, which apparently would have happened anyway. So here we are, a little bit ahead of schedule with the Dreamcast, a slightly irate uncle, my father who just walked in the door, and it was like, oh shit, and my mom was at the office screaming at the two of them, going, "Why the hell did you scream at the kid? He didn't need any of that shit." My parents have worse mouth than I do. But still, this was really, really cool. So we're sitting there and we're playing this game, and then my uncle goes, "You know what, I got some surprises, because he used whatever I had. And he bought some stuff for me as well. And he got me Soul Calibur and the strategy guide for Sonic Adventure. And Sonic Adventure to this day is one of my favorite games, and actually it was one of the first games I ever 100% completed. And I just loved everything about that game. Soul Calibur, I played that thing for hours. And the fact of the matter is, really, it's not the moral of the story that I was a spoiled, rotten kid, of which I was. It's more that I can look back at this memory and just say, who goes through all the trouble just to surprise somebody like this? Like, really, that... I want to say, it's going to sound cheesy, that's what you do for people you care about. It's not so much buying them things. It's about catching them at a particular moment and making them smile. It doesn't have to be a material thing. It could be a hug. It could be anything. And I never asked for them to do this for me. If I didn't get a Dreamcast that day, I would have pouted my ass off. Of course, I was disappointed. That doesn't mean I would have never gotten it. Toys R Us already had my money. But the fact of the matter is, they all coordinated and conspired to surprise me. And I honestly can't think of a lot of people who do that. For anyone. Let alone me. I don't know what I did that made them think, you know what, let's surprise him on this day. I mean, I think it's just the memory itself is really what makes it valuable. So the moral and the purpose of this video isn't really me talking about the Dreamcast. It's me just saying I love the Dreamcast because of the memory that I have with getting it. That is really what makes me, sorry, I'm choking up here. That's what makes me want to hang on to this. That's why I didn't get rid of it. Because this is a memory that I can't emulate. This is a memory I can't replace by saying, I sold it, I gave it away, I bought it again. This Dreamcast holds a ton of sentimental value. Even if it weren't working anymore, I'd still keep it. So there you have it. That's my memory of the Dreamcast, guys. I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.